Hello, welcome to a new episode of Geek Lunch Meat. I'm your host Chris. As usual, I hope everyone is doing good out there. In this episode, I'm going to be unboxing and then doing a quick repaint on the Hasbro Legends Hydra Stomper figure. Now, this is from the Disney Plus animated show What If. If you like the video, why not hit the thumbs up? It helps the channel out a great deal, gets the video out there and gets seen more. And if you've not already subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button? We would absolutely love to have you. Now, Marvel's What If is the animated series where they basically take scenarios from the MCU and say, well, what if something else happened instead of this, and sort of branches off into a different reality, a bit like the multiverse, and sort of explores what happens there. Now, the first episode is basically what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers. And so in this case, Peggy becomes Agent Carter, and Steve is just left as Skinny Steve. So Stark builds him the Hydra Stomper suit, so he can go into battle alongside Peggy. Now, I picked up the Captain Carter figure when it first came out. I did not pick up the Hydra Stomper because it was about £65, and for me, it's just a bit too much for what it is. But all good things come to those who wait, and you can now pick it up for basically half price. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to pick one up for yourself. So without further ado, let's get the box opened up, take a look at the figure, and as I say, I'm going to show you how to do a sort of quick and dirty repaint, just weather it up a bit, make it look a bit more realistic. Nothing too involved, nothing that's going to require sort of expensive materials and things like that. So hopefully, if you want to, you can have a go at home. Okay, so here he is. We've got Marvel Legends series at the top, Marvel Studios What If, the Hydra Stomper. I think we can see there are a couple of extra hands, and these I think are blast pieces that go in the back of his jetpack, make it look like he's taking off. And on the back, we can see here's an image of the Hydra Stomper as he is in the cartoon, and it says, in the universe, you know, Steve Rogers was the first Avenger, Captain America. In this universe, Steve is injured and fights in the Hydra Stomper, an Iron Man armor created by Howard Stark. And there it is in several other languages. Okay, so after far too much faffing about with the packaging, there is the Hydra Stomper in all his glory. There were no twisty ties actually keeping him into the packaging, but it was like a really snug fit. So yeah, fair play, he wasn't going to get broken or go anywhere. As you can tell, I had far more trouble getting him out of the packaging than I'd like to admit. But anyway, he's out and there he is now. I put his backpack together, it just clips together, clips in the back. You've also got, as I said before, you've got his hands, got two fists you can put in there instead of the open hands that he's got. And you've got these two parts here that plug into the bottom of the jetpack and make it look like he's taking off or flying through the air. And we'll put those on him later. So he is roughly, what we got here? He's about 9 inches tall altogether. I had a bit of trouble getting him to stand. Some of these joints on his legs, they're quite spongy. So say you've got a bit of trouble actually getting him to stand up to begin with. But he's got quite a lot of range of movement on his arms and his swivels. Some of these bends, like on his elbow there, it clicks once. It feels like he wants to go some more, but I wouldn't risk it. To be honest, I'd probably once you've got him in a position where he's standing okay, I would probably leave him like that. We'll turn him around as well, just so you can see. There's his sort of rocket pack on the back there as well. Yeah, so like I said before, there's no way I would have paid the original £65 or whatever it was price. I don't think he's worth it. To me, for that money, he should come with like a Skinny Steve figure as well, to go with it, or even like in the cartoon, if the top bit hinged off and you could put a Skinny Steve figure inside, something like that for the money. Say for half price, it's not too bad. Now he's perfectly fine to put on display as he is, but as I said before, we're going to do a quick repaint on him, put some washes on, bring out a lot of the detail, do some weathering. I'm going to be using all cheap materials and things you've got around the house, so anyone can do this at home. So let's break out the paints and get to work. Okay, so I've removed his backpack just to make it easier. So what basically going to do is put a dark wash over the entire figure. And you can do that with a lot of toys. The sculpts on a lot of figures are generally good. It's usually the paint applications that let them down. Obviously they're done in the factory, and if you want something that's really good hand painted paint applications, then you're going to be looking at the Hot Toys figures and paying hundreds of pounds of them. So usually a quick dark wash brings out all the detail on the figure. Now instead of using the old favorites, we've got the old Agrax Earthshade and Nuln Oil from Citadel Color. They're fine for minis, but obviously they're quite expensive, and on a figure this big as well, they're quite thin. Yeah, they're quite expensive, and I figure this big, you're going to use up quite a lot of them. And also, I mean, they're quite thin, and you'll probably have to do several layers to actually get the depth of color you require. So instead of those, we are using bog standard cheapy craft paint. And for this figure, what I'm going to do, you could just use black, that wouldn't be a problem, because it's this sort of nice olive green color. I'm going to add a bit of brown into the mix as well. So don't forget, give them a good shake. Because I like saving money wherever I can, I'm going to use this as a mixing palette. This had garlic dough balls in it, and obviously once I'd eaten them, I'll wash this out, and it will work absolutely fine. But you could use, pretty much anything, paper plates, or something like that. Right, far too much brown squirted out there, so I'm just going to take all the black and a little bit of brown and add it onto one of the others. Just mix it till you get a colour that you're happy with. Then obviously it is a wash, it needs to be quite runny, so just add some water. Then when you're happy with the consistency, we're just going to slop it all over. We'll start with this one arm. Basically use a big brush. Work it in to all the recesses. Don't worry if it looks patchy. And basically when you're happy that it's all covered, get an old bit of cloth and literally just wipe off most of the paint. So as you can see, the paint's gone into all the crevices and made it look, it's brought out a lot of the detail and made it look sort of suitably grimy and dirty. So basically, just got over the entire figure like that. Okay, so as you can see, I've applied the wash all over the figure, rubbed it all off. As I say, add as much dirt and grime as you want. It's your figure, do it how you want to look. I've just gone over it with one wash. You could do repeated washes if you wanted, but I'm happy with the way he looks. All over there, it's just brought out some of the detail nicely. Don't forget to do the his rocket pack as well, and also his spare hands, which I did forget to do, which I have just done. Now, if you want to, you can leave the figure like that if you're happy with it. What I'm going to do next, which always makes a figure look good like this, is some chipping. Basically, areas where the paint would have worn off to show the bare metal beneath. And there's a couple of techniques we can do for this. I'm going to use two different techniques today. First one we're going to do is using a sort of flat brush, is just put some silver paint on areas where paint would normally wear off. So obviously we've got the rungs on the ladder here where Skinny Steve climbs aboard, and sort of all along the sort of edges and things like that. just applying some silver paint, as I say, just to make it look like the sort of greenish paint is all worn off. So again, if you've got cheap craft paint and you've got a silver colour, feel free to use that. I've got this, this is Citadel colour, and the colour Rune Fang Steel, but basically any silver paint will do. Again, give it a good shake. What you're going to do is get some paint on the brush. You don't want too much. You certainly don't want to water it down because you don't want this to be a wash. So I'm just going to get rid of some of the excess of that. And then basically just go around, say, on the edges. So using the flat of the brush, just pick up the edges of any panels and things like that that you require to look like the paint's chipped off. Again, just go over the whole figure. Once again, it's easier to apply more than to remove. So just, be subtle, and then, you can always add more as you go. Okay, so hopefully you can see I've gone all over him. So putting the silver on the edges, just giving it that nice paint chipped off effect. Don't forget, don't forget to do the rocket back as well, and his extra fists. Obviously, where he's going to be punching Nazis and tanks and things like that, is going to, the paint's going to have come off sort of around the ends and edges of his fingers. Now, again, if you're happy with that, leave it at that. No reason to go on. What I am going to do, though, is another chipping technique using a sponge. So all you'll need is, it's just any old household washing up sponge. Rip a bit off, and then you can just use that to daub the paint on just like that. I find it easier. This is one of those tweezers where when you squeeze it, it opens, and when you let it go, it closes. So you can use that just to grip the sponge a bit easier. So what you're going to do is just dip this in some silver paint, and then the irregularities of the sponge are going to create some natural looking chip marks in the paint. So yeah, just dip the sponge in the paint, get some silver paint on there, wipe some of it. You don't want too much, just wipe it off. You can try dabbing it. You can see how much paint is going to come off. And then again, just start applying it, say probably around the edges of things again, where you'd get natural paint being chipped. And then hopefully you can see there, you just get some natural sort of chip marks. Again, as I said before, it's easier to add more than to take stuff off. So just be a bit gentle and just go around the whole thing, doing as much or as little as you want. What I will say as well is, move the position of the sponge. Sometimes go that way, turn it around, come around the other way. Just helps break up the sort of uniform. Sometimes you might get a bit where it all comes out looking the same. So just makes it adds a bit more irregularity to it, which ultimately is what we're trying to do. So again, I'll just go over the whole model like this, and we'll see how it looks like at the end. One little extra thing I am going to do as well, which you don't need to do, but I think where you've got these rocket boosters here, they have put on some like bits of black paint. What I am going to do is just pick up some of the black we're using during the wash, just daub most of it off, and then just go in. And it's just adding like a sort of charring effect. Where the fire would be coming out of the backpack. Let's say again, you don't need to do this unless you want to. And just a little something, you could actually use this black to go over certain areas of the actual main body if you wanted to, just to add sort of more specks of dirt and things like that. But I think I'm just going to do it around the end of these boosters here. Okay, so I'm happy with the chipping all over. It's not too much, just subtle in places. But it's looking good to me. Now, one of the final things I'm going to do, which again you can leave out if you want, I'm going to make it look like he's got mud splattered up just on his feet and his legs, as if he's been tromping through a load of mud on his way to smash some Hydra goons. Now, basically, the way I'm going to do this is mix up a brown muddy colour. I'm going to go with quite a lightish brown, which I think will contrast nicely on the sort of olive colour. I'm going to do a mix. This is the Citadel colour, Mornfang brown, and this is the Vallejo colour, dark sand. I'm just going to mix them together, give them a drop of water, and then the trusty old toothbrush to flick some paint just on the bottom of his legs, saying to create some sort of mud effects. So I've mixed up my brown colour, added some water to it, made it a bit runny, so it should flick properly, and then just flick it. And again, don't go overboard. Okay, so hopefully you can see there, it's just some subtle, flecks of mud on the bottom of his legs there. Not too much, didn't want to go too overboard with that. He's pretty much done now. The last thing I'm going to do is his eyes, and this bit, I suppose, is the arc reactor, isn't it? It's essentially like a giant Iron Man suit. They glow like really bright blue in the cartoon. So what I'm going to do, I've got this, which is a Citadel Temple Guard blue. It's one of their air paints, which is used for an airbrush. I'm not going to bother masking off the whole of this just to airbrush those things. I'm just going to brush this in. So this is not anything you need to do. I'm going to do it just to make look like it's a bit brighter blue at any rate. So I will just brush that in, hopefully with a steady hand. So there you go. As you can see, just come up a lot brighter blue there, more of a contrast against the green. And with that, he's just about done. What I'm going to do, you could leave him like that. Give him a quick spray with a matte varnish just to seal all the paintwork in. And then what we'll do is I'll put some gloss over the top of his eyes and the arc reactor as well, just to make them sort of stand out and glow, look like they're glowing a bit. I'm going to be using the Tamiya TS80 flat clear, but any matte varnish will do. And obviously, don't forget safety first. So I will be using my respirator as well. Okay, so he's now a spray of matte varnish. All that's left for me to do is just put some gloss varnish just in his eyes and the arc reactor. I'm just going to use, I've got the Citadel hard coat gloss varnish, so I'm just going to brush some of that on there, and he'll be pretty much done. Okay, so that is the quick repaint of the Marvel What If Hydra Stomper all done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget you can use these techniques on pretty much any toys or model kits, all simple, I say, and pretty cheap and easy to do. So I will leave you with some beauty shots of the Hydra Stomper. Thanks for watching. Until next time, eat, geek, and be merry.